So we tried an experiment in 2005 at DHS called Operation Texas Hold'em. Because Brazilians came across the border primarily in the lower Rio Grande Valley sector of the border, and also to a lesser extent the Laredo. But that's virtually every Brazilian who enters the U.S. illegally comes there. So we said, okay, we're going to take whatever amount of resources are necessary and grab every Brazilian, and we're not going to let a single one of them go. And we're going to do whatever is necessary in the way of extraordinary resources to house them, hold the hearing, and process them out of the country, and see if this doesn't have a result back in Brazil. So the message is, you come up, you get on the plane from Rio, you get yourself to Mexico City, you get on the bus to the border, you hire the coyote, you get across the border, they grab you, and you no longer, you know what they called your immigration hearing notice in Brazil? A permiso, a permission slip. So no longer will you get the permiso, instead you'll get put in a cell, you'll get processed and put on a plane back to Rio. And we did this, and it cost a lot of money. But what we found is that 6 weeks later, apprehensions of Brazilians coming across the border in Texas had dropped 90%. Now, the reason wasn't that they were getting a lot smarter and getting across, it was that the message got out, we're going to get caught and get returned. So we then began, we had been putting resources into it. We've got 40% more beds to hold these people, 7,700 more beds to hold people. Plus, when we came into office, it took 93 days to process them out of the country. It now takes 19. So if you've got 40% more beds and you're processing them through there 4 times as fast, you're suddenly able to get to this place. You see the gap. The solid line are the apprehensions. The dotted line are the releases. Are the detentions. Top line is the guys we arrested. The dotted line are the ones that we held on to. And as you can see, the week of, ironically enough, July 17th of last year, they crossed. And we literally now, if you are an OTM, you don't get released. You get processed back to the country from which you came. Now, it's costing us a lot of money to do that. It costs us $97 a day for 3 squares, and the cost of supervising you, not the capital cost, but just the cost of clean bed sheets, 3 squares a day, and whatever resources we have to put, particularly if you're a family, we've got to make certain your kids are getting some kind of education and attention. We've got to provide some modicum of health care to you. So it's costly. But it is really vital that we do this in order to have people have confidence that we're serious about controlling the border. Because if we don't, if people think that we've got this, and we've had this for 30 years, Republicans and Democrats alike have tolerated this. And it has been corrosive in people's attitudes towards the border. It just is. It's not giving people confidence that their government is on their side when it comes to the border. But this isn't enough to solve the problem. We better work on all the other problems of this: assimilation, resolving the status of the people who are here illegally, employer verification and temporary worker program, or this is all not going to matter, because they're going to be, you don't have enough resources to control the border if people are desperate to feed themselves and there's a job in the United States of America that allows them to feed their kids. Just aren't.